That's not me, that's the cat. At any rate, this is the piece we're going to be working with today. It's the one I sent you the link to print out. We're only going to be working with the first half. Today we're going to discuss the silver bullet of piano practicing. We've talked about it before. Someone is interested in getting in on the act. Anyway, just ignore her. Yes, of course. The silver bullet of piano pedagogy, of learning how to play a piece of piano, is extremely slow practice. Years ago, I met a pianist named Ruth Slenzinska at a Baldwin store in Chicago. And she told me about a story where she had, when she was very young, she was 10 years old, her father had taken her to meet a very famous pianist named Sergei Rachmaninoff, who was one of the greatest pianists of the 20th century, and some think he wasn't a bad composer either. And she said they were walking down the hall to his hotel room, and she heard this pianist, and he was playing. She said it sounded like the worst pianist she had ever heard in her life. And so they walked up to this door, and they knocked, and the piano stopped. And Rachmaninoff came to the door and opened it. And so during the time she spent with Rachmaninoff, she said, I don't understand. What I heard was so unprofessional. And he said, this is the only way to make a performance secure, to make knowledge of a piece secure. It's extremely slow practice. I've tried everything else, and I've come across the same technique in innumerable publications from other teachers. It's just the thing to do. So it's very difficult to do, though. It requires an incredible amount of discipline. So we're going to do it together this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, or whatever time it is where you are. So here we go. First, we're going to do a quick analysis. Hopefully you have the score, but if you don't, and I hope you can see, I've sort of gone through it. And our first measure is a D7 chord. Okay, first inversion. And then our second measure is a G minor chord. And by just moving the thumb up, we get to E flat. Our third measure is an F7 chord with the fifth and then the third. Our next measure is the B flat chord, the second inversion. Our next measure is the dominant of our home key of G minor, D7, a D7 chord. And finally, a G minor chord, but immediately going to a 4 chord C. I'm having a little trouble here because the tripod is in the middle of my hands. We're going to do this G minor C, G minor C, D7 with a third and an open seventh, third in the bass, open sevenths, G minor, the E flat. You may have realized by now we're just repeating the opening measures. B flat after the F7, the B flat, second inversion again, our D7 chord, our G minor, going to a different form of the C minor chord, suspension, going to my D7, and cadencing in the tonic, G minor. Okay. In the melody we have an octave, with step, step. This is aligned to space, so it's an even number, fourth, step, skip down, fifth, step, to the E flat. This is why you want to be thinking in the key of G minor and not just thinking of looking at notes. Otherwise, you're going to miss that E flat. F, step, 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 another fourth, step, same. Here's that E flat again, step, the fourth again. This fourth keeps recurring. Well, actually, it's D, A, and F, A. Let's see if he does the same thing. Here's my B flat for my key signature. Here's my C minor chord. Landmark G, step, G minor. That's how we get the flat. That's how we get the B flat, because we're thinking in the key of G minor. That's how we get the flat here, because we're thinking in the key of C minor. C, E flat, G, C, E flat, G, G, B flat, D. And then here's my G minor. Here's my C minor again. So there's no chance of playing that because we're thinking C minor. C, E flat, G. Here's my D7 chord with a neighboring tone up to E flat. There's my fourth again, my D, A fourth. It keeps recurring. Then we go to the third, B flat. We're thinking B flat because we're in G minor. Landmark G, fifth, line, line, line. There's my E flat, step, step with a, whatchamacallit, step, grace note. Here's my C, F, C fourth, which we also had up here. Step, same, my E flat, fourth. There's my D, A fourth. Then we have this big leap up to B flat and stepping down, same step. Here's my E flat, grace note on the E flat, step, step, B flat, step, step. Okay, now let's try this slow practice technique. Don't play until you hear me play it. chatty you can't even stand it. Let's see if that was slow enough. I think I may actually have played it too fast. Let's go to the metronome. Okay, take it as a metronome. As soon as he finishes telling me what it does, it's a metronome. And we're going to set this for 20. We're going to try and set it for 20. But we're going the wrong way. Oh, it won't go below 20. I thought this one went below 20. Okay, we're going to get a different metronome. Let's see if we have one here. Of course we don't have a different metronome. Let's see. Hang on. Anyway, I'm sure online you can find a metronome that we can. I know they go down to 0, some of them. Let's try this one. Hopefully it won't take all day. While that's doing that, which it seems to be doing pretty quickly, did any of you have any trouble keeping up with that pace? Some of you may have. So the trick is if you are, that means you have to go even slower than I was going. There is no such thing like being too rich or too thin. There's no such thing as practicing too slowly. Let's see if this thing will do its thing. This seems like there could be a different way of doing this. What? Good. All right. This one only goes to 30, but we'll take it. All right, so let's set that going. Okay, now let's try this again. Okay, let's go. Notice I'm not paying attention to the rhythm. I can't get my hand around the thing. with this E flat. I still think that's too fast, but in the interest of time, we're going to go with that. In individual sessions, we can adjust it so we can go even slower. So this is pretty much what we're doing this week. There's something else. Oh, I wanted to talk about the circle of fifths a little bit. And a sort of interesting way to remember the sharps and flats in the chords. So I put my circle of fifths up here. Okay. So if I start with a C chord, okay, I have C, E, G. Let's get this so everyone can see it. Now, the fifth, obviously, is going to be the G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excuse me. Now, if I go GDB, GBD, I mean, well, the fifth is going to be, the new sharp is always the seventh. So I know I'm going to have an F sharp, and then I'm going to carry that forward throughout the rest of the sharp keys. So now I've gone C, E, G, G, B, D. D is now the fifth of G. The new sharp is this note before D, which is C sharp. And I'm going to have D, F sharp, A. I'm going to move it down an octave. So I've gone from C to G to D to A. Okay. A has the new sharp G. And if I were thinking only in white keys, let's go back to G. G is all white keys, G, B, D. D has an accidental. It has the F sharp from G. So if I'm raising the third from F to F sharp. If I were just to do all white keys, I would get D, F, A, but I'm raising the third to F sharp. I'm going to do the same thing for A. A is the 5 of D. All white keys gives me A minor. If I raise the third, I get a C sharp. A, C sharp, E. Now, obviously, my E is going to be my fifth. So I'm going to go E, G, B would be all white keys. I'm going to raise the third again. G sharp. My new sharp is D sharp. That's going to come up in the next key. I go up 5, E, G, B. B is my new root. B, D, F sharp, or B, D, F would be all white keys, but we know we have had an F sharp since the key of G. And the third is going to be raised to D sharp. If we go up 5 from B, we get F sharp. And F sharp, it's going to be all black keys, F sharp. So it's a sharp key, and we know that all of those key notes have been sharp, so we know it's going to be F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. And then we go up 5 from A sharp, and we get C sharp. We know all of our notes are sharp, so it's going to be C sharp, E sharp, G sharp. So that's a quick way of figuring out a chord. It's C, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C sharp, E, G sharp, B, D sharp, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, etc. So if you're trying to do a shorthand way of getting the circle of fifths in your head, that's one way of doing it at the piano. For the flats, it's best to start with the most remote key of C flat, which is C flat, E flat, G flat. We know that all the C keys are the most extreme. C major has no sharps or flats. C sharp major has all sharps. And C flat has all flats. So we've got C flat, E flat, G flat. That's my first key. So my next key in the fifth is going to be the 5, which is G flat, B flat, D flat. The 5 is D flat. So my next key is going to be D flat. D flat, F, A flat. So my next key is going to be A flat. A flat, B flat, A flat, C, E flat. And my next key, A, B, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat is E flat, F, G, A flat, B, 3 flats, E flat, G, B flat. And my next key, B flat. B flat is the 5 of E flat. So I've got B flat, D, and F. And finally, my last key is F with 1 flat, B flat. So that's a way to sort of keep track of the circle of fifths in a more linear fashion than in the circular fashion of the circle of fifths. All right, well, anyway, once again, if you have any questions, get in touch. You have my email and my phone. I hope this has worked out. I think you might even try practicing this slower than we did. It was something like... There's a story that at one music school, if a teacher walks down the hallway and can identify the piece that the student is practicing, he stops and tells them they're playing too fast. To keep yourself slow, I have trouble getting this G octave because of the tripod. Download a metronome that goes down to the 20. I have one, but it's on my phone, which I'm using for this video. So consider this another practice. Don't play until you hear me play the note. You should be able to feel a buildup in gravity between each note because the tension gets so high to want to resolve to the next. Oh, on this here, what you do is you pivot on the index finger. So this chord would be fingered 5, 2, 1. And you start out on the C. Don't try to hold the C, the pedal's holding it. Pivot on the G, bring the thumb down on the E flat. One technique you can do, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1,000, 2, 1,000. And if you have to stretch that out because you're having trouble getting from one place to another, make it 1, 1,000, 1, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, whatever you need to be able to keep it going and get one place from another without making a mistake. You can't make a mistake. If you make a mistake, it's like, I don't know, taking a hammer to a Bing vase and sort of like giving it a little tap. It's going to crack, and then your Ming vase will be worth much less than it was before. Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that's it for this week. I'm going to give you a timing for that last one to start there after the opening of the video, because I think that one was slower than the first one. But once again, give me a call or text me or email me if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you later.